we have a guy from my hometown, Seattle, Washington, John Blackstone. He's a singer, songwriter, performer, producer, and filmmaker from Seattle. He has worked in the music industry for over 25 years in Seattle and Nashville. He began playing professionally at the age of 18, and he was so young he had to have a permit allowing him to perform in establishments serving alcohol. And in the 1990s, John moved to Nashville. While there, he wrote songs with some of Nashville's most talented writers, including Troy Seals, who's written songs recorded by the Rolling Stones, Eric Clapton, Ray Charles, and several others. And he's began producing recording sessions for various Nashville artists. In 1992, John formed a new band, John Blackstone and the Rest of Us, and began performing around Nashville, including shows at the world-famous Bluebird Cafe. And in 1998, he released his first album, Not Dressed for the Occasion, featuring the single The Great I Am. The album featured B. Murray on bass and Nigel Osen on drums, and the legendary Elton John Band. After finishing the album, he returned to his hometown of Seattle to continue writing, recording, performing, and producing albums for Seattle artists. He's released the second album, Smoke, Mirrors, and Dirty Glass, in 2002. And since his last album, John has written hundreds of songs, from which his favorites will appear on his third solo album titled Survive. And it's was released in April 23rd, 2021. And he's currently putting a new band together with plans to perform live in the U.S. and abroad. He's also a filmmaker, and he did in 1995, he released a short film titled Pimpy, and he co-wrote, directed, and starred in the film. It won awards at several film festivals around the U.S., including major festivals in Chicago and Florida. Man, you were busy.
Well, yeah, I've always been just since I was a kid. I started making movies when I was before, I have films of myself as a 5-year-old making monster movies. Like my very first movie was when I was 5. It was called Monster from Dr. Cyclops Laboratory, and
Really?
yeah, I really have just always been into film and music and art, and so yeah, I love being able to work in the arts because the arts are so uh, powerful in terms of
Mm-hmm.
their ability to communicate. It's really, yeah. So
Oh,
I just
yeah.
love it, and God has blessed me with some just incredible experiences working with people that were musical heroes for me. That, as you mentioned, there was a couple of guys that were in Elton John's band back in the '70s, which is when he recorded all of his biggest songs, Rocket
Yeah.
Man and Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. So there was a band that played on all those records, and I got those guys to play on my first album, which was just incredible. And so when
That's
I was a
fantastic.
kid, this is no joke. When I was a kid, I had posters of those guys on my wall. And when I got to Nashville, the way that I ended up just accidentally meeting one of them one day, just totally something that I believe God orchestrated, just because He knew that it would totally bless me, almost like a dad would know just the perfect gift to give to his child. That's
Yeah.
how I took that. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ramble.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm just kind of a artsy fartsy guy, I guess.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, the arts are a great way to tell stories, and
Definitely.
like they're so powerful. Like you were saying, there's nothing more amazing than telling a story in a way from a different perspective
Uh,
than what's common or the common story. Like just to look at it from a little different, different angle.
Yeah, and especially being Christians, there's so many awesome things that can be communicated through film. Like, I mean, like the Chosen is just one of
Mhm.
many examples. But the guys that are working on that show are really striving for artistic excellence, and because of that, a wide variety of people are watching that. It's not just
Yeah.
Christians that are watching The Chosen. It's a legit more work of art, and I love it when Christians strive for that kind of excellence, so that
Hmm.
not only would Christians get something out of it, but a non-Christian would watch it and
Yeah.
be impacted by it. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
It is fantastic. I was I was I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were telling me how they read um or they watched a testimony. I can't remember if they read it or watched it, a testimony of a guy who watched um the Old Test the Ten Commandments. It's like an old
yeah,
film.
yes, very
And
famous
like,
old film. Yeah,
yeah, and how he, like, when he watched that, and there was another, and like there was another one that he watched, but like he watched some of those old films and he could feel like the presence of God just watching them. And
yeah,
and that ended up leading him, like, he loved them because they're well done movies.
yes,
And he ended up becoming a Christian because of that, of having, of that, watching that. And
absolutely,
I'm like, well, shoot, let's as Christians not shy away from making great art, and
absolutely.
not just making sure that the story is important, but making sure that the elements are excellent as well.
You are singing my song. This is so important to me. Really, it's been my kind of crusade because I didn't grow up in a Christian home. Very much came from the other side of the tracks. I was a professional musician before I became a Christian, and so I lived in that other world. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
I discovered when I became a Christian, I thought, okay, I'm a Christian now, so now I want to check out Christian music and I want to check out Christian movies. And sadly, this was back in the '80s, but
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to what was popular Christian music then. I was going, really, this is the best that we have to offer, you know. And same with movies, you know, a lot of Christian movies have been really awful, just really cheesy and poorly done. And I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if people are going to put the name Christianity on something, that they should really strive for excellence. That's just my personal passion.
I I I I do see a place for the cheesy movies, because I know a lot of people who've grown up in that environment and they love those movies, and
Of course.
it's they're kind of like uh they're they're about the same quality as like the Olsen twins, movies
Yeah.
that they put out. Look, those are cute movies and they serve a great purpose for, children to watch, and they're fun, family friendly entertainment. But you know what you're getting into when you watch, before you watch one. And I'm like, okay, so I know what I'm getting into when I go to watch like
Sure.
some of those older Christian fare. It's like, okay,
Sure.
I know that there are certain markers that are gonna show up, because that's just the way that it is. And
Yes.
it's not that it's bad, it's just that it's for a very narrow particular audience. It's for Christians only. And like, for as an artist, we should want to reach out beyond just our normal audience and reach out to those that aren't, and see if we can snag the other fish,
Absolutely.
the outside of the pool, like get pulling some.
Speaking of which, if I don't play something soon, I don't think I'm going to
Yes.
have time to play anything.
Well, yeah, no, no, no. I'm not gonna talk your time away. No, here, play something for us.
All right, this is one. This is a request. This is dedicated to Joshua tonight, and this is a song he asked for. It's off of my latest album, which is titled "Survive," and it is available everywhere. Everywhere that you would go to download or buy music, it's there. This is called "One Day." I don't recognize this place no more.
dark before. What's right is wrong, right is wrong. We won't last this way for long. One day this world is gonna see the light. One day everything is gonna be alright. Yeah. Everybody's staring at their phone, wondering why they feel alone. So many hearts have turned to stone. I know this world is not my home. One day this world is gonna see the light. One day everything is gonna be alright. Yeah. We need peace and hope and love. We need faith in God above. Remember, one day this world is gonna see the light. One day this world is gonna. One day this world is gonna see the light. One day everything is gonna be alright. Yeah.
All right, that was One Day. I have to turn my volume down a little bit. I'm blowing my head off through my headphones.
This is interesting. I think our host is gone.
Oh, really? Interesting. All right, well, I'll just keep going. That
Awesome.
was for Joshua.
What do you have next?
Joshua, what's that?
I was saying, what do you
oh,
have?
This is, let's see, I'm going to do, I know I did this, I think I did this song last time, but this song is really getting a lot of response from people right now, and I think it's because the world is kind of, there's a feeling in the world that's generating some fear for people, and 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7 says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and love and a sound mind. And there's so much in the scripture, particularly from Jesus, there's so many times when he began his sentences by saying, "Fear not." And we as Christians, who we not only know what the end of the story is, but we have our Maker, our Father in heaven, who cares for us and will never abandon us. And no matter how dark or weird things get in this world, Jesus has overcome the world, and through him we do as well. So this is a song called "Slave to Fear."
Except for a small band of friends, I am alone. In this wrath-faded place is not my home. And I have seen a better way that makes all this world look black and gray. But while I am here, I will not be a slave to fear. While I am here, I will not be a slave to fear. Except for a small band of friends, I find it hard to trust anyone at all, but I still try to love my neighbor right. Though to give my love might take my life. But while I am here, I will not be a slave to fear. While I am here, I will not be a slave to fear. I am an orphan of this world, held in the anchorage of God. Except for a small band of friends, I see a world ruled by people who don't know the truth. They make the laws that oppress the wise. The people of God they despise. But while I am here, I will not be a slave to fear. While I am here, I will not be a slave to fear. While I am here, I will not be a slave to fear. While I am here, I will not be a slave to fear.
That was Slave to Fear.
Awesome. People are loving in the chat over here on Facebook Live.
Cool. That's awesome. I should probably mention that that song was actually off of my first album, and that album was released as John Blackstone and the Rest of Us, which was the name of my band when I was in Nashville, John Blackstone and the Rest of Us. And the frustrating thing is that if you search just John Blackstone, like on iTunes or Apple Music or Spotify, whatever, it'll only bring up 2 albums that I recorded as John Blackstone, but you can't find that one until you type in John Blackstone and the Rest of Us. So if anyone wants that song, you just make sure that you type in the name of the band there. And actually, to make it easier, you can go to my website, which is just johnblackstone.com. Go to the music page, and all of my music is there for download, or if you just want to listen to it, it's all my music's there. So that way you can see it all in one place. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that, since you mentioned your website and stuff, if each artist, after you get done with your sets, if you might be able to go to the Facebook Live and post in your info, and that way everybody on there can check it out anytime if they want.
I will do that. I love when you tell me stuff like that, because I'm not so great technologically.
Yeah, well, the cool thing is tonight, to get your music across, we have people tuning in from India, from all around the United States and Australia, and I noticed one of our Filipino friends is in here tonight. So
that's so awesome.
We are literally reaching the world.
Well, that's awesome. That's a blessing, and I hope that all of this, my music and everyone else's music, is blessing people's hearts. You know, it's I just actually became a pastor again, which I haven't. I've been a pastor before, but now I'm a full-time pastor again, and there's such an exciting thing happening in the church. I just feel like there's a generation of young people that are coming up right now. They realize that they're kind of isolated maybe because of things like social media, and there just seems to be kind of a brokenness in terms of relationship. And I'm just seeing a lot of young people particularly that are really reaching out for something that's real, and it's incredible to be able to invite them to hear about God and Jesus, and to invite Jesus into their heart and have relationship with God, their creator. And it's always a profound transformation when someone receives the Lord. But the cool thing about being a pastor is that you get to see it a lot. It's really amazing. It's just awesome. I love it so much. But yeah.
Awesome. So what else do you have?
Let's see. I think I'll do. I never know exactly what to do. I'd really like to try a song that I haven't done in a long, long time. But this is actually one of my favorite songs of my own that I've written. It just really means a lot to me. It was a song that I wrote shortly after I actually first became a Christian, and it speaks about. It was me kind of just saying, after having searched for God for so long and looking for God in other religions and other sort of spiritual ways, I finally found the one Almighty God, the real God. And this is just a song I wrote about how His glory is revealed in creation, and how because of that, no one will have an excuse. As Romans says, what may be known about God is plain to see, because God has made it plain to see. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities and eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. That's kind of what inspired this song. And I haven't played this for a long time, but it just came to me, so I'm gonna give it a shot. This is called World of Wonders. This is off of my first album, Not Dressed for the Occasion, which is the John Blackstone and the Rest of Us.
In this world of wonders, I see skies of blue, rainbow colored sunsets, clouds kissed by the moon. Some people wonder how it all came true. It's no wonder that it's you. In this world of wonders, we search for the truth. One day he's a wise man, the next day he's a fool. We need an answer that's forever true. It's no wonder that it's you. Oh, look at the world and its beauty. What may be known about God is made plain to see. What more do you need to believe? In this world of wonders, in this world of wonders, we're all free to choose. But one day we will all see lies burned by the truth. There'll be no more question how it all came true. It's no wonder that it's you.
That was World of Wonders. I'm sorry it wasn't all that great. I haven't played it in a long time, but it suddenly popped into my head, so I figured I better do it.
Oh no, that was great. Absolutely.
That song is. Thank you. That's that blesses my heart. That song is I don't know why, but it's just always been one of my favorites, just of my own. I don't know if it's because I just love that scripture so much in Romans that says, you know, what I had quoted earlier about how God's glory is just revealed just in creation. Just when we look out the window and look at the stars and the clouds and the trees, and that reveals God's glory in and of itself, not to mention all the other incredible things that we're surrounded by, that reveal that God is true and God is awesome. So I don't know, that scripture has always been really close to my heart.
Yeah, that's so true, because when you look at just how great creation is, I mean, how can you say that there is no God when it's so ordered and it fits so well together?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I was just having a conversation with a guy about this the other day. Another pastor who's been a pastor a lot longer than I have, but he said, you know, you can debate people like all of us have probably watched some of these debates that are online sometimes, like with people like John Lennox who are giving apologetics for Christianity, and they'll be debating an atheist, and an atheist will have all these reasons why, you know, they believe that Christianity is evil. Actually, they think it's evil. They think, and but this pastor was saying that there are people. There's two kinds of people in the world. There's people that are looking for God, and then there are people who are looking for reasons to reject God. And if you basically have already decided in your heart, or your heart is so hard that you have rejected God, you know, Jesus could literally show up at your front door, walk in your house, and you know, do a miracle, right in front of you, and it still wouldn't change that person's heart. Those who reject God, ultimately, if they have done it for so long, sometimes God actually hardens their heart so that they can't believe. And yeah.
Well, what else have you got for us?
Oh, another one? Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah, I would like to do. This is a song I wrote. This is another song that is kind of a lot of people are responding to it. This is the title song off of my new album, which is called Survive. And this is a song that I wrote based on an experience I had with very severe depression. Um, I had really had been depressed ever since I was a child. I remember even trying to explain it to my mom. I would say, Mom, I don't feel right. I feel weird inside. And she didn't know what it was. And of course, I don't blame her, but it was depression. And so when I became an adult, I continued to deal with depression, not all the time, but it would just kind of come and go. And it was really miserable when it was there. And um, back in 2005, I was a pastor of a church, and I was loving what I was doing, and I felt so blessed. I felt like God had led me there, and it was the culmination of my love for music and my love for Him. And I was worship pastor, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, I was hit with this totally just devastating depression that was far more just beyond anything I had ever experienced before. It was absolutely devastating. I literally, most of the time, could not even get out of bed. And it came on out of nowhere. It wasn't caused by like a series of bad occurrences or someone dying or something like that. It just came and hit me like a tidal wave. And so I had to resign my position as a pastor, and I spent the next 7 years essentially as a zombie. Um, I was treated, but with every medication imaginable. I went through hundreds of hours of therapy, counseling. The depression, just to give you an idea of how severe it was, they ultimately, after every kind of treatment failed, they gave me shock therapy, which is always a last resort. And I also sought spiritual healing. I met with countless pastors, and I was anointed with oil, and people lay hands on me. I did that like four or five times, and so anyway, I spent 7 years in an incredible place of darkness and brokenness, and I was just barely surviving. And one day, after about 7 years, the Lord, just out of the blue, I woke up one day and it was gone, totally gone. That was in 2014, and I not only do I not have any residual from that devastating depression, but I don't experience any depression anymore. For the first time in my life, for the past 7 years, I have no more depression at all after living with it off and on for a lifetime. And God did so many incredible things through allowing me to go through that. I learned so much about Him. I learned so much about His faithfulness and how much I can trust Him with my life. And it's not like it was like when He healed me, it was so overwhelming. But I did go through a process. I was angry at God for a while because it really did destroy my life. I ended up losing my home. I had 3 young children when that was happening, and my wife had to end up basically just taking care of them and our entire life. It was awful. But what I'm getting to is that God, as God is so great at, He turns tragedy and something as devastating as that into something beautiful, which is what He did in my faith. He was preparing me to be a pastor. He was preparing me to give me a heart of deep compassion and empathy for people who are suffering. And out of that heart of compassion and empathy, I wanted to write a song. The song is called Survive. And I basically thought, I want to write a song that if someone were on the very verge of suicide, which I'm not embarrassed to admit I was several times during that 7-year period. By the grace of God, he stopped me every single time. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to write a song that if somebody was thinking about committing suicide and they heard this song, it would stop them in their tracks and give them hope to make it through one more day, to go to sleep, make it to the next day. And that's what this song is all about. This is for people who are hurting right now. And if you're hurting, God bless you, and know that God is, he is faithful and he is totally trustworthy. That does not mean that we don't suffer. We do suffer. All of the great heroes in the Bible that we all admire so much, the common thread with all of them is that God allowed them to go through great suffering. And there's nothing to be embarrassed about depression or any kind of mental illness. It is a real illness, just as the same way that a heart can be sick or a kidney can be sick, a brain can be sick. And in the same way that God can heal those things, he can also heal depression, anxiety, bipolar. There's nothing that God cannot change for you. So anyway, this is called Survive. Hold on, I've got to adjust something.
Okay.
Sorry, it's just almost about to blow my eardrums out. Here we go.
It can hit you like a flood when loneliness burns in your blood. Your hopes and dreams are long forgotten. You gotta look up to see bottom. And it's so hard to face it, to make it through another day. I'll survive, I won't give up, I'm still alive. Yes, I'll survive, I'll break through, it's worth the fight. So are you, so are you. No one waits for your arrival. When it's not life, it's just survival. There's no light inside the dark. Even love can't reach your heart. And it's so hard to face it, to make it through another day. I'll survive, I won't give up, still alive. Yes, I'll survive, I'll break through, it's worth the fight. And so are you, so are you. It's hard to face it, you gotta make it through this day. You'll survive, don't give up, you're still alive. Yes, I survived, love broke through, it's the fight. So are you. So are you.
Wow.
That was Survive.
What a great song. That's there's that you can really hear the heart of coming out of such depression to and the fight involved with that, and just the love of God involved with that. That's Thank you so much for sharing that song and you your talent, and it's been just a joy and an amazing um just just amazing this evening to hear you and Adrian so far, and we've got Glenn coming Glendale coming up, and of course CJ Lassiter from Sacramento, California. Woo!
Am I still on?
Oh yeah, you're still on.
I just wanted to say, when you disappeared, I was like, oh no, where'd she go? And then when you came back, I was happy that you came back. So I wanted to let you know I was happy when you came back. You just disappeared, and I was like, she disappeared into the ether.